Good morning, everyone, and happy Motivation Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend and everybody's ready for this great week. If you guys haven't noticed, there's been some updates this morning in AHCP that I'm going to go over kind of quickly for you. If not, you may want to check your writing link, depending if you're using carrying benefits out there. You can kind of see what's going on. So I thought we'd start with a pretty good quote today. So an objection is not a rejection. It's simply a request for more information. That's a good Bo Bennett quote there. Today we're going to kind of talk about overcoming objections pretty quick in this power-packed Motivation Monday. Should take us about 15-30 minutes at most. So kind of what an objection is. Objections are usually people not understanding information. We'll go over the 4 main reasons why people don't buy, but we'll jump kind of into more information this morning on that. So happy Motivation Monday. Again, kind of the layout of how these work. We're going to go over kind of the tip of the week, which this week is going to be those NHIC product changes. We'll take a look at the quick trends through AHCP, and then we'll end in the sales technique, which is going to be 3 quick overcoming objection techniques. So if you haven't checked this morning, I recommend you do to see kind of what the product changes look like. So if on your carrying benefits link, if that is what you're using, you will notice that there's going to be 2 new quoting links for your short-term medical. The reason why I'm talking about the NHIC so much this morning is that because that's a lot of our short-term medical business here. So the quoting links are going to be a little different. You'll notice that the states are broken into 2 now. There'll be 1 for association states and 1 for individual states. The association states, those are the ones where they come with this new association package that's actually a lot cheaper and a lot more inexpensive. Individual states are states that do not require an association package. So those states, you'll see a lot bigger reduction in the fee list. So they removed the network fee, they removed the administration fee, as you can see on there. So the fees are going to look a lot smaller. Because of that, the association states, they'll literally just have the cost of the short term, and then they will have just the one-time enrollment fee, and then individual states, it will have just the short-term cost. Now, make sure you are going to be using the right quoting link. Let me show you a quick picture here. And it's about to pop up. There we go. That you're using the right quoting link for the right states. You'll see that the states are going to be there in the lower right next to what the benefits are. Just make sure you are lining up your states that you're using. I've had a few questions on that already this morning, so kind of wanted to let you know. So you'll notice that there are going to be two different areas. Well, one of them is where the states don't require an association package. That's the right-hand side here. So that's Colorado, Connecticut, Iowa, Kansas, Montana, Michigan, Missouri, New Mexico, I believe Oregon, South Dakota, and Utah. Those states, most of them are going to actually let you purchase an association package on there if your client would like, because there have been changes to that as well. The new association package, there is a free one that comes out that has just, a variety of benefits. They kind of stripped it down. They can also do a buy-up option now, which will give them benefits to like a discount prescription card is going to be on there. There'll be access to health insurance as well, a free student grant locator service, discounts on their ADT. So there's a lot of different benefits that are out there. There's some really great brochures. The brochures have been updated, so take a look at those. But again, they're broken into 2 other ones. So the individual states don't require an association. The association states come with a very inexpensive association package where they stripped a lot of the benefits to kind of lower the price of the short term for you there. But they can do that buy-up option. The buy-up option is going to be about $20 a month, and that's where they get those additional benefits, like those prescription benefits like we just talked about. So make sure you're doing the right one. Now, if your client is buying the TrioMed, which is basically the #1 product that's being sold right now, they do get those prescription discount, or that prescription discount card as part of the TrioMed package. If they do the TrioMed, that's when they get the full out, with the short term, the full-blown association benefits. So make sure to pair those up. Those are some pretty big ones that are out there for our clients. Now as well, if you haven't looked, there have been changes to the TrioMed as of this morning, so 8-1 when all the changes happened. With the TrioMed, the guaranteed issue now has AD&D, so accidental death and dismemberment. They also removed the $2,000 deductible on the AME section for uninsured. In the past, if your client didn't have insurance, there was a $2,000 deductible to do the AME claim. Now everything is just $250, so pretty easy. And then they also increased the payout on the AD&D to 100% for spouse and 50% for child. In the critical illness sections, they did reduce 2 of the payouts on there to 25%. So if you have any questions on those changes for the Triomed or the short term, reach out here to AHCP. We have the answers for you. We can definitely help you through that. So the tip of the week is just be aware of the changes and make sure to use the right quoting state when you're writing your NHIC short term. So let's kind of go through some of the quick trends that are going on. We had an increase in major medical sales this week. The top carrier was Molina by a lot, so we've been doing really great on those. We've had a steady short-term medical sales. We've kind of hit our run as far as it goes. So with this, 90% of our sales last week were NHIC. Make sure you're using the right quoting link if that's what we're writing the most of. Our accidents, we were doing pretty good on those, so we've kind of hit our running paces those as well. Top carriers VBA, so the general agent center there. And for critical illness, CBL, so Colorado Bankers Life, just knocking it out of the park as far as it goes for critical illness. We had a pretty healthy increase. Actually, we sold almost twice as much critical illness as we usually do last week. So hopefully those are helping you guys with the extra bump in the paycheck. Sales kudos to this week. So we had some pretty good ones. We had Brian Jarvitz with short-term medical, just knocked it out of the park, say with David Taxer. So those two just murdered the short-term market. Jacob Gordon basically led our whole dental sales division by a lot. He knocked dental out of the park, just a ton of them. And then Aaron Ellison, good job with the Molina Major Medical. Yeah, you sold about half of the Major Medical for Molina last week. So this week, our sales technique we're going to talk about is overcoming objections. This is usually what we like to do the most. We get really excited when there's an objection. We just want to jump in. We want to beat them over the head. For the last, probably about 2 months ago, we talked about a sales process that helps eliminate objections. Objections, as we said before, are when people usually don't understand something. But there's really honestly 4 reasons why the customers aren't going to buy from you. You can maybe squeeze these down to 3, but I'd say 4. The first big one is the clients don't trust you, so they don't think you're a professional. That's a really hard objection to overcome. That is something that you should really be working on when you're doing your introduction, explaining who you are and what you can do. So the first usual objection is that the clients don't trust you as a professional. The second one is that they don't understand the product or the benefits. Third one is that it doesn't meet their needs, and the fourth one is price, good old price objection. So these are the 4 most common objections that are out there when people don't buy. I've done focus groups afterwards as well, and these are the ones that keep coming up. My agent doesn't know anything. I don't trust them. I have no idea what this accident plan is going to do for me. You know, I said that I'm really, really worried about, the big what if. My agent gave me a monstrous deductible that I'll never meet. So, it doesn't match their needs. And, I had to keep it under $150, and they pitched me a $250 plan. So common objections. What can you do when we get to them? Well, there's 3 really common techniques that are out there. The first one is one by Robert Kuhl. He is a sales professional based out of Minnesota, and he calls it the feel, felt, found technique. This is what he's been doing. He's been in sales for about, I'm not going to kid you, I think 55 years. So he would always say, you know what, I completely understand how you feel. So when it would come to like a common objection, like maybe the benefits aren't going to work, he would just say, I completely understand how you feel. Kind of be relatable to the client. And then try to make the client feel inclusive about what their objection is. And I've had a lot of other people who have felt that way as well. But what I've found is the best solution. So he called it the feel, felt, found. So understand how the client feels, make them feel included by saying others have felt that way, and then he would pitch his solution as I have found. This one's good. This one's a quick, easy win, but I'll let you know you're probably not going to understand most of the objections using this one. I've used it in the past. If someone throws me just one of those minor objections that you really don't care about that much, you can just do the feel, felt, found. I need to talk to my spouse. I completely understand how you feel. A lot of people have to talk to their spouse. And, I've had a lot of clients who've said that before. Well, what we found is the best solution here is, we can move forward with the application. The nice thing is you can cancel at any time. So kind of the feel, felt, found technique. It's out there. It's a quick, easy one to remember. I use those on objections that, aren't too hard and nothing that's going to be huge make or break. Just something I just want to get over the hurdle right away. Another one that people seem to really, really, really like out there is the good old Zig Ziglar. His Quiet. If you haven't heard about it, take a look at it. There's a ton of information about it. It's question, so you must ask a question to understand the objection. Once you understand the objection, you must identify the objection. To identify the objection, you must empathize with the prospect, and if you empathize with the prospect, you're really doing sympathy, and then you're going to be testing the objection. When you test the objection, you make the real increase your chance of closing the sale. So really, it's when someone throws you the objection, you need to question it. Kind of just ask the client a question. By asking the client a question, you're knocking them off their pedestal and you're making them actually think. A lot of times when people throw out the objection, that's going to be the roadblock right away. By asking a question, you kind of disarm the client. That's what Zig Ziglar believed right away. So you ask the question. By asking the question, it's going to really help you start understanding what the objection is. Your goal is to figure out what of the 4 categories is that objection going to fall in. Is it because it's just way too expensive? Is it because the benefits don't work? Is it because they don't trust me? Is it because they don't understand? Really common is I don't understand how it works and I don't want to sound like an idiot to you, so I'm just going to say no. Common thing too, say, hey, you know what, if you're going to go talk to your spouse, what could I tell your spouse just to help make sure everything's explained correct? So with Zig Ziglar, you're going to ask the client a question right away related to whatever their objection is. You're going to hopefully understand it. From understanding it, you're going to be able to identify what the objection is. From identifying it, you want to relate back to the client like, oh, I completely understand, that your spouse isn't going to understand, how a deductible works. So let's walk through. You grab a pen and paper. I'm going to tell you exactly what to say. So now that your spouse understands the objection, what other kind of questions do you think they'll have? So Zig Ziglar's Quiet, it is a really powerful one out there. Take a look. There's some pretty good quick YouTube clips on that. And the last one is a good Jonathan Farrington one. And the reason why I saved this one for last is because it has something that has helped most sales agents actually overcome objections right away, which is silence. A lot of times what happens is when people get objections, all they want to do is talk. Just start talking. Okay, you give me an objection and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fix your problem right now. We're going to run at 100%. We're going to do it as much as possible. Zig Ziglar, Roger Cool, they all believed really strongly in the power of silence. When someone gives you an objection, shut up. Just shut up. That's going to make them think. It puts the customer on the spot. It really gets the customer's mind moving. You want to get the customer stressed out a little bit when they give you an objection. And I don't mean bad stress. There's 2 types of stress, bad and good. You want to get them into the point of stress where they are starting to think. So once they give you an objection, shut up. Let them think. Sometimes they will actually talk themselves out of the objection. So the silence will actually save you a little bit of headache. It's going to make you uncomfortable as a sales professional. As salespeople, we love to talk. We want to make sure everything's going great. We don't want to be quiet because we've learned when you're quiet, the sales process isn't going right. But with the silence, the first one to talk is honestly going to lose. So make sure your client is the one who does. So you don't want to jump in too early. The next move is really go back into the fact finding. So kind of tell me more. So kind of like what Zig Ziglar said, you can ask the question right there. So his starts out with silence, then you ask a question to dig back into it. So the tell me more, try to figure out more about it. After that, you want to repeat back what the client said. So you really want to hear it out. You want to feed it back for clarification. So once you find out what their objection is, you want to repeat it back to make sure that it is the truth, because a lot of times what's going to happen is your client's going to change what they said. So you'll find out what the real objection is. I found out when I was playing the objection game, usually took me 2 or 3 times to find out what the real objection is, because they're just going to throw up whatever they can think of that's going to say, hey, you know what? This is going to make the salesperson stop. No, you want to actually really dig back into it. So silence, tell me more, repeat back for understanding, and then do a trial close. Trial closes are questions that are gauging for understanding. So we talked about doing open and close-ended questions with the trial close. You really want to do a close-ended question here. So does that make sense? Can you see how this can help? Something like that that's going to make the client end with a yes. Then you're going to handle any additional objections that trial close might throw out at you. And then you're just going to do a quick check-in to make sure everything's great and then continue on. His is easy, his is nice. I'm a huge fan of the silence. I like how that is what we start with the Farrington. So you could either do the feel, felt, found, you could go through the Zig Ziglar quiet, or you can do the Jonathan Farrington silence. Those are some 3 quick hitters for objections. Give the silence one a try. Make yourself uncomfortable. I mean, we're salespeople, we want to talk the whole time, but try it. When someone sits there and gives you an objection, shut up. Become uncomfortable. See what happens. Once they start talking, you can get them driving more. So tell me more about that. Let's get it going. Repeat back what they're saying for understanding, because who knows, maybe what you're hearing isn't right. And they're going to say, wait, oh, no, this is what I really meant. Give a trial close for a yes. See if there's any more objections. Check them, and then move on. Move on. Honestly, if you do a really good job up front, you're not going to have too many objections. If you do really good fact finding and find out what their real needs are, you're not going to have to use any of these. Really good salespeople, they get excited when objections happen, I understand, but you really want to try to avoid them in the beginning. Deal with the objections when they happen. Don't wait until the close. I know some people will sit there and gather their objections all the way along the sales process and keep moving. No, stop. When you get an objection, stop and handle it right at that moment. So the quick sales techniques, you got the feel, felt, found, the Zig Ziglar quiet, and Jonathan Farrington silence. Give those a try this week. Let's see how they go for you. Now, keep in mind about those changes this morning as well with the NHIC. If you have any questions on those, please reach out to us here, training@ahcpsales.com. If not, feel free to contact our agent center as well. They'll help you through anything that's going to happen. If you have a question or anything you want to cover next Motivation Monday, please let me know. We try to make these really quick hit wins for you. Maybe you can pick away 1 or 2 things that are going to help you with your sales this week. Hopefully you got a few things out this morning. And I thought we'd end with a pretty good quote that the top salespeople understand they must learn to feel uncomfortable doing the uncomfortable. I wanted to end with that because of the silence. Honestly, if you do silence, I think it's going to be a quick improvement for you. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if not, I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll talk to you next Monday.